Hey there, modern math teacher. I've got a question for you. So, have you ever walked out of a lesson or just gone to sit down at your desk and you thought to yourself, wow, that was a total flop, right? Like you planned it, you explained it, maybe even tried to make it a little bit fun, and your students just sat there like, excuse me, Ms. Moore, what is this? Or worse yet, they had their heads down, their phones were out, they just sat there, stared, zero energy. And if you're being really honest with yourself, there's this tiny voice in your head that says, well, maybe I just wasn't engaging enough with that, right? But here's the truth I want to start with today. You are not boring and you are not the problem, okay? But your lesson design might be. And listen, friend, I have been there. If you've been around the block, you have heard my Mazer tag story all about the project from the experts that was supposed to be a guaranteed win and was my biggest flop in the classroom. So I'm not here to judge. I'm here to listen and to explain. Hey, you guys, if you don't know me, I'm Kristen Moore. Welcome to the Modern Math Teacher Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to break down why student engagement has way less to do with you than you actually think it does, and what's actually causing that dead room feeling, and one simple shift that you can start making tomorrow. Because if your students are feeling disconnected from what you're teaching, there is no amount of energy, games, or even relationships that are going to fully fix that. So let's get to it. Let's call this out first, you guys. We have been sold this idea that engagement is about being entertaining, energetic, fun. And don't get me wrong, you guys, that can definitely help. But here's what I've seen over and over again. You could be the most dynamic teacher in the world, but if your lesson feels irrelevant to your student, they're going to check out every single time, you guys, because students are constantly asking themselves one question: why should I care about this? And if your lesson doesn't answer that, they're going to disengage. Not because they're lazy, not because they're trying to be disrespectful, but because the learning doesn't feel meaningful to them. So what's really going on here? What's actually causing this disengagement? You guys, it is not you. It's not your personality. It's not your classroom management. And it's certainly not the effort that you're putting into this. Here's what it is. It's a disconnect between the math and the real world, okay? When your students see math as something that is abstract or random or just some steps to memorize, they don't see a reason to invest. And honestly, you guys, can you blame them? I can't, because if we're being real here, a lot of traditional math instruction does feel disconnected, okay? You've heard me say before, I'm going to say it again. There are 3 R's to keeping your students engaged: keeping it real, keeping it relevant, and keeping it rigorous. And that relevance here is key, okay? So what I want you to start thinking about now, engagement is not about making math more entertaining. That's just going to get you in the fun and fluffy zone, okay? It's about making your math more meaningful. Now listen, that does not mean that you have to be planning elaborate projects, reinventing your entire curriculum. Goodness knows we work smarter, not harder here, okay? And you definitely don't have to spend hours creating something new. It's all going to start with being a little bit reflective with something so much simpler, okay? Asking yourself, where is the relevance in this lesson? Okay. Even small shifts, you guys, like connecting it to a real life decision or using a familiar context, putting your students' names into it, or giving them something to actually think about can completely change the energy in your classroom. So here's one quick thing that you can try this week, because listen, it is April, friend. It is after spring break and we don't have time for big overhauls, but we do have time to do one small thing. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to pick one lesson, just one of them, and ask yourself, why would my students care about this? Not what's important mathematically, but where might this show up in the real life? What could students actually do with something like this? What decision could this help them make? Because when your students see a purpose, when they make a connection, everything changes. All right, you guys, and really, this is just the beginning of the conversation, but it's after spring break. We got to keep it easy breezy on our brains here. Over the next few episodes, we are going to dig into much more of this. We're talking about what real world math actually looks like, why most engaging lessons are actually falling flat, and how to start making small shifts without overwhelming yourself. So, my friend, if you've ever felt like my students just are not into this, this series is for you. All right, you guys, if this episode has got you thinking, I'd love for you to do two things. One, share this with another math teacher who's feeling the exact same way. It's April. I know we're all feeling this way, okay? And two, come hang out with us inside the Modern Math Teachers community on Facebook. We're talking about this exact same stuff all the time. And as always, you guys, until next time, keep it real.